What separates truly great companies from the merely good ones? The answer may surprise you. It's not flashy CEOs, cutting-edge technology, or revolutionary business models. Instead, it's a set of timeless principles that, when applied with discipline and perseverance, can transform an organization from mediocrity to sustained excellence. Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into one of the most influential business books of the 21st century, Good to Great by Jim Collins. This groundbreaking work, based on years of meticulous research, uncovers the key factors that enable good companies to become great, sustained performers. In the next 30 minutes, we'll explore the surprising characteristics of Level 5 leaders, why who matters more than what when building a great organization, and how confronting brutal facts while maintaining unwavering faith is key to breakthrough success. We'll unpack the simple yet powerful Hedgehog Concept, examine why disciplined people and disciplined thought must come before disciplined action, and understand how technology acts as an accelerator rather than a creator of momentum. By the end of our journey, you'll grasp the flywheel effect that propels good to great transformations and learn how to apply these principles in your own leadership journey. Let's start with perhaps the most counterintuitive finding from Collins's research: Level 5 leadership. When you think of transformative business leaders, who comes to mind? Steve Jobs, Jack Welch, Elon Musk? While these charismatic figures have certainly left their mark, Collins found that the leaders who drove the most dramatic, sustained improvements in their companies were cut from a different cloth entirely. Level 5 leaders possess a paradoxical blend of personal humility and professional will. They're ambitious, but their ambition is primarily for the company and its purpose, not for themselves. These leaders often come across as reserved, even shy, but they have an unwavering resolve to do whatever it takes to make the company great. Take Darwin Smith, for example. When he became CEO of Kimberly-Clark in 1971, the company was a stodgy old paper company. Smith, described by Collins as shy, unpretentious, even awkward, made the courageous decision to sell off the company's paper mills and go all in on consumer products like Kleenex. Wall Street thought he was crazy, but Smith's quiet determination and focus on long-term success paid off. By the time he retired in 1991, Kimberly-Clark had outperformed its rivals, including consumer products giant Procter & Gamble. The key takeaway? Great leadership isn't about larger-than-life personalities or egocentric visionaries. It's about humility combined with fierce resolve, credit to others in success and responsibility to self in failure, and an unwavering commitment to long-term excellence. Now let's move on to another surprising finding: the idea that who comes before what in building a great company. We often think that visionary companies start with a brilliant idea or strategy, but Collins found that the good to great companies focused first on getting the right people on the bus and the wrong people off before figuring out where to drive it. This first who then what principle is exemplified by the approach of Wells Fargo during the turbulent period of bank deregulation in the 1980s. While other banks were frantically trying to figure out their strategy, Wells Fargo's CEO, Dick Cooley, focused on building the best team in the banking industry. He didn't know exactly how deregulation would play out, but he knew that with the right people, Wells Fargo would be able to figure it out. This approach might seem counterintuitive. Surely, you need to know where you're going before you assemble your team, right? But Collins argues that with the right people, you'll be able to adapt to changing conditions and figure out the best path forward. The wrong people, on the other hand, will struggle no matter how brilliant your initial strategy. This principle extends beyond just hiring. It's about being rigorous in all people decisions. The good to great companies were not afraid to make changes when it became clear someone wasn't a good fit, even if that person was in a senior position. They understood that greatness is about having the right people in the right seats on the bus. But being rigorous doesn't mean being ruthless. The good to great companies didn't use layoffs more than the comparison companies. Instead, they created a culture where the right people were excited to be part of something great, and the wrong people eventually decided to get off the bus themselves. Now let's talk about one of the most challenging aspects of leadership: confronting the brutal facts of reality while maintaining unwavering faith in ultimate success. Collins calls this the Stockdale paradox, named after Admiral Jim Stockdale, who survived 8 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. Stockdale observed that it wasn't the optimists who survived the POW camps. The optimists would say, "We'll be out by Christmas," and when Christmas came and went, their spirits would be crushed. Instead, it was those who faced the brutal reality of their situation while maintaining faith that they would prevail in the end who had the mental fortitude to survive. This paradox is crucial in business as well. The good-to-great companies didn't sugarcoat their challenges or ignore warning signs. Instead, they created a climate where the truth could be heard and faced head-on. Consider Kroger, the supermarket chain. In the 1970s, they recognized that the old-style grocery store was becoming obsolete. Rather than clinging to the past or making half-hearted changes, Kroger made the painful decision to basically destroy their existing business model. They closed or expanded hundreds of stores, transforming them into superstores. It was a brutal process, but Kroger's leadership never wavered in their faith that it was the right path to long-term success. And they were right. Kroger outperformed the market by over 4 times over the next few decades. The lesson? Great companies don't motivate people with visions of a rosy future while ignoring current problems. They motivate by being honest about challenges while instilling confidence that the company will prevail. Now let's dive into what Collins calls the Hedgehog Concept. This is perhaps the most powerful idea in the book, and it's based on an ancient Greek parable. The fox knows many things, but the hedgehog knows one big thing. In business terms, the Hedgehog Concept is about finding the intersection of 3 circles: what you can be the best in the world at, what drives your economic engine, and what you're deeply passionate about. This isn't just about focusing on your core competence. It's about understanding, with piercing insight, what your organization truly has the potential to be the best at, and equally important, what it cannot be the best at. Walgreens provides a great example. They didn't just decide to be the best drugstore chain. They honed in on a very specific concept: the most convenient drugstores with high profit per customer visit. This guided every decision, from store locations to inventory management to customer service. Finding your hedgehog concept isn't easy. It took the good-to-great companies an average of 4 years to figure it out. But once they did, it provided a clear, simple concept that guided all their efforts. The power of the hedgehog concept leads us to our next principle: a culture of discipline. This isn't about tyrannical leadership or oppressive rules. It's about having disciplined people who engage in disciplined thought and then take disciplined action. Nucor, the steel company, exemplifies this principle. They built a culture where every employee, from the CEO to the factory floor, was focused on continually improving productivity. They didn't need excessive bureaucracy or micromanagement because they had instilled a sense of discipline and responsibility throughout the organization. This culture of discipline, combined with an entrepreneurial ethic, creates a powerful duality. Within the framework of the hedgehog concept, people have freedom and responsibility. The freedom to figure out how best to achieve the company's goals, coupled with the responsibility to deliver results. Now let's address a topic that's on everyone's mind these days: technology. In the age of AI, blockchain, and the Internet of Things, surely technology is the key to greatness, right? Well, not exactly. Collins found that technology by itself is never a primary cause of either greatness or decline. Good-to-great companies use technology as an accelerator of momentum, not a creator of it. Take Kroger again. They were early adopters of scanner technology, using it to revolutionize their inventory management and pricing strategies. But this wasn't a case of jumping on the latest tech bandwagon. It was a carefully considered application of technology that fit perfectly with their hedgehog concept of providing a better shopping experience at lower cost. The key is to avoid the trap of technology-driven hype and instead focus on technologies that directly tie into your hedgehog concept. Ask yourself, does this technology fit with what we can be the best in the world at? Will it help drive our economic engine? Does it align with what we're passionate about? As we wrap up, let's talk about what Collins calls the flywheel effect. Picture a huge, heavy flywheel. Getting it to move takes enormous effort. You push, and eventually you get it to complete one entire turn. You keep pushing and it gets a bit easier. Each turn builds upon the work done before. Eventually, the flywheel builds up so much momentum that it feels almost unstoppable. This is how good to great transformations happen. There's no single defining action, no grand program, no miracle moment. Instead, it's a gradual process of consistently pushing in the right direction. Each action, each decision, each turn of the flywheel builds upon the previous ones, compounding your progress. The comparison companies, on the other hand, fell into what Collins calls the doom loop. They'd try to skip the build-up and jump right to breakthrough. They'd push the flywheel in one direction, then stop, change course, and throw it in a new direction. They'd seek flashy, revolutionary changes instead of consistent evolutionary progress. So what can we learn from all this? How can we apply these principles in our own leadership journeys? First, work on cultivating level 5 leadership qualities. Focus on the success of your organization and its mission, not on personal glory. Second, prioritize getting the right people in the right roles before worrying about strategy. Third, create a climate where brutal facts can be confronted while maintaining faith in ultimate success. Take the time to discover your organization's Hedgehog Concept, that intersection of passion, talent, and economic opportunity. Build a culture of discipline around that concept, giving people freedom within a framework. Use technology wisely as an accelerator rather than a silver bullet. And finally, focus on consistent progress, turning the flywheel in a consistent direction rather than looking for miraculous breakthroughs. Remember, the transition from good to great doesn't happen overnight. It's a process of buildup followed by breakthrough, of disciplined people pursuing disciplined thought and taking disciplined action. But for those willing to put in the work, the rewards can be extraordinary. As we conclude our exploration of good to great, I encourage you to reflect on these principles. How can you apply them in your own context? Whether you're leading a Fortune 500 company, a small business, or even a team within a larger organization, these ideas can help you build something truly great. Thank you for joining me on CEO's Library, the 1% bookshelf. If you found this valuable, please share it with others who might benefit. And don't forget, you can find the full transcript and accompanying visualizations at ceoslibrary.com. Until next time, keep pushing that flywheel.